Good morning. Welcome to Heart of God International Church. So glad you joined us this morning. It's really great to see you, even though I can't physically see you. In my mind, I do, and you look great. I'm so excited you've joined us today. The series that we've been doing on dreaming, on the title of the series, in fact, has been called Dream Now. And I want you to live your best dream. God's desire is for you to fulfill your destiny and your purpose and to allow everything that he's put in you to come to fruition. Today, I want to do something different. I want to do a series within this series, Dream Now. I want to do something called Dream Killers. There are many things that come to stop our dream. Sometimes we think that life will be easy. We'll just skip through tulips and God will be like Harry Potter and just magically give us everything that we want. But there will be adversity. And there are things that come specifically to kill your dream. Have you ever noticed that something great happens to you, or you move close to a dream or close to something coming to realization and you get pushed back? Sometimes those are dream killers. And you need to know your enemy. You have someone and something that wants to stop you from reaching your destiny. That's how important you are. That the enemy literally wants to stop you from doing all that you've been called to do. So I want to talk to you about dream killers. And so this will be a series within a series. I want you to take some notes and I want you to get ready because I want you to learn something about yourself today. This first dream killer that I want to talk to you about is really important. This dream killer is called self-image. What is self-image? What is self-esteem? Self-image is how you think about yourself in your inward part. Many people never reach their God-ordained destiny because they don't see themselves the way God sees them. In fact, when you get up and you look in the mirror, what do you think about yourself? And when you think about yourself, what do you see? Your image is everything. See, the bottom line, it really doesn't matter what others think about you. What really matters is what you think about yourself. This is the whole issue that we're having, even with racism in America. The enemy can only oppress you when he changes your mind and causes you to see yourself as inferior. He tries to implant his thought in your mind concerning your image. This is a war about the hearts and the thoughts of men. If you can get people to think that they're less than, then they will in fact be less than, and they will in fact be oppressed. I want you to understand that you're not fighting a natural war, you're fighting a spiritual war. This is what racism is about. This is what racism does. You only oppress another people when you, in your mind, have a negative self-image of them, and you cause them to have a negative self-image of themselves. So I want to talk to you about this thing about self-image. How do you see yourself? Now, I want to tell you 3 places that image comes from. Image, number 1, comes from your environment. What did you grow up in? What was said about you? What did your mama say? What did your father say? In fact, I know it's not Father's Day, but fathers are very important because fathers, in fact, give validation to us. And it's really important. Even when we look at all that's going on in our country, we have a father problem. And that is something that we must address because fathers do, in fact, validate us. In Matthew chapter 3, verse 16, it says this: "And when Jesus was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him." Verse 17 says, "And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, 'This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased.'" I love this passage of scripture because Jesus is on a mission. He's trying to fulfill his purpose. And we see here, this voice that opened up from and came from heaven was not for everyone else to hear. It was for Jesus to hear validation from the Father. He needed to know who he was and what his purpose was. Because guess what? In his journey to give his life for the hearts of men and women in the world, he was going to face rejection, and he was going to face being called out, because he was coming and saying, hey, I'm the Son of God. And guess what? Someone was going to say, no, you're not. You're just a man. You're just Joseph's son. Who are you? Can any good thing come out of Nazareth? All about self-image. So we see the Father God validating him. And so what happens is many of us have not been validated. The environment that we've been in has not been conducive for our self-esteem to be built up. Some of us, we're in work environments and we're not supposed to be there. Why? Because of our self-esteem. And so your environment is one of the places that your self-esteem comes from. Okay? The second place that your self-esteem comes from is you. Just very simple. This is very simple. It comes from you. It comes from your thought life. It comes from what you say about yourself. When you say, I'm stupid. When you say, I can't do this. In Judges chapter 6, there's a story of Gideon. God caused the children of Israel to be oppressed by the Midianites. And the story of Gideon is about God calling Gideon to deliver the children of Israel out of the hand of the Midianites. And when God comes to Gideon while he's working in the winepress, the angel of the Lord comes to him and says, I want you to go, you mighty man of valor. And Gideon's, what he says about himself is totally negative. He says this exact statement: who is my family? Who is my tribe? I'm from the least of all tribes, and I'm the least in my house. This is his thought of himself. So the second place, the first place your self-esteem comes from is your environment. The second place it comes from is you. What do you think about yourself? How do you talk about yourself? Where does this negative talk come from? It comes from you inside. So you have to see yourself different. You have to see yourself the way God sees you. Gideon in Judges chapter 6, I want you to go read that. He's hiding in the wine press. He's in the wrong environment anyway. He's beating wheat out in the wine press because he's hiding from the Midianites, because he doesn't want them to find where he is, because during that time the Midianites would come and they would just raid the land and take all the food and all the livestock. And so, but the most important thing is how Gideon saw himself. The angel of the Lord said, you mighty man of valor. God was validating him. God was telling him who he was, but his self-talk came against what God was calling him to do. What is your self-talk? What is your self-image? How do you see yourself? I want you to start changing that. I want you to start having positive words. My wife is all about making declarations, and she writes things on the window, on the mirror in the bathroom, that she will preach to thousands and reach millions. And she changes her self-talk by what she sees every day. She changes her image. I want you to start changing your image in this way. And what this does is it brings in self-doubt. When you have a negative self-image, it brings in self-doubt. And you no longer believe in your own ability. Not only do you not believe in your own ability, you start not believing in God's ability that he put in you. And you start not believing in God's ability that he has the ability to put ability in you. So I want you to get rid of that. I want you to start seeing yourself as God sees you. No more negative talk. Get rid of it. And here's the third place that your self-esteem comes from. It comes from God. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, here's what it says. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. I love this, because what God is saying is that I made you in my image. If God made you in his image, what do you think about that? We're like who is God? You know, the image of God is spirit. So he created your spirit first, and he gave you the same ability that he has. So I want you to literally start thinking like God. Yeah, I said that. You need to think like God. That's what the whole Bible is about. He wants you to think like him. He wants you to act like him. He wants you to create like him. And so this is why Jesus told the disciples, he said, he that believeth in me, in the works that I do, the same shall he do, and greater. Jesus himself said that you were going to do greater works than him. I love Psalm chapter 8, beginning at verse 4. It says, what is man that you are mindful of him, or the son of man that you care for him? You made him a little lower than the angels. You crowned him with glory and honor. You made him ruler of the works of your hands. You have placed everything under his feet. Wow, how incredible is that? That God has placed everything under your feet. I want you to start seeing yourself the way God sees you. I want you to get your image back from God. I want you to get your self-esteem from God. I want you to start thinking like God. I even want you to change, if you need to change your environment. Listen, if you need to start hanging around smart people, start hanging around smart people. Hanging around smart people doesn't make you feel dumb. It just makes you smarter, because iron sharpens iron. You start learning some new information. Listen, having the wrong self-image is a dream killer, because that image tells you that you can't do it, that you can't make it. I'm always talking to people. I'm always talking to couples. I'm always talking to men who feel inferior. They feel like they don't have what it takes, but it's not that they don't have what it takes. It's their image. That image needs to change. There are young people all over the world who are depressed, who are thinking about suicide. Why? Because they don't see themselves as God sees them. They don't have value or take value in their life based off of what God has put in them. I want you to start seeing yourself this way. I want you to kill this negative self-image, this killer of dreams, because this thing causes you to not have hope. And I want you to hope in God. I want you to go look in the mirror and tell yourself that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, because you in fact are. I don't care what your past looked like. I don't care what environment you grew up in. I grew up not being very close to my father, not really having anyone to validate me in that way, but still God put in me the ability to be a great father and to teach men how to be great fathers and how to be great husbands, and teach them how to live godly lives. It doesn't matter what man says about you. It only matters what you say about yourself and what God says about you. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have taken something from it. I want you to live life to its fullest. I want you to stay tuned for some announcements. Listen, if you're looking for a Bible-believing, Bible-teaching church, you have found it. We will be opening our doors soon. There'll be more information coming out about that, but we want to make sure that everyone feels safe as we return back to our building. But you can see us here online. You can also attend our weekly connection group. We have small groups. If you email us, we can connect you and we can attach you with a leader that will help you grow. This is Pastor Todd from Heart of God International Church. We love God, we love people, and we change the world, and that's how we see ourselves. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us. If you would like to support our ministry, please visit www.hogic.org/donate, or you can text to give by sending the words HOGIC Giving to 73256. To learn more about our ministry, visit our website at www.hogic.org, or connect with us online by following us on social media and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have questions or prayer requests, please email us at info@hogic.org. We would love to have you join us for one of our weekly connection groups held on Zoom. HOGIC Kids meet on Mondays at 7 p.m. Women meet on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Men meet on Thursdays at 7 p.m.